This Focus on Health segment is brought to you by Aurora Healthcare.
Hello and welcome to Focus on Health. I'm Ted Stefaniak. Today we're at the Aurora Medical Center in Oshkosh. We're going to be speaking with Dr. John Newman about everybody's favorite topic, dieting and weight loss. Well, thanks for taking some time with us today. And I guess before we get started into what we can do to prevent getting fat or losing weight, tell us a little bit about why do some people get fat and why other people don't get fat?
Yeah, it's funny because, there may be somebody in life that's eaten the same thing I've eaten every bite of my entire life and is twice my size, and somebody that may be half my size. So there's so many things that come into factors, especially activity. We'll talk a little bit about hydration, but really, specifically, our bodies are different. There are genetics at play, but there are also things that we can do to kind of change our genes, because what we eat does affect how our genes work. And so that's a hugely important thing to know, is that just because I was born with these genes doesn't mean that I can't influence these genes.
Yeah. So what are some of the things we should be putting into our body?
I think that is probably the bigger question is, what do we need to stop putting in our body?
Sure.
Because probably when you look at how we make fat, with there's only one way our bodies can make fat. And people think that, I can't eat this, I can't eat that, but really excess carbohydrates, sugars, processed foods, it comes down to, when you break it all down, even fruits and vegetables, when you break them all down, it's sugar. And it's the amount of sugar that our bodies take in, because the only way that our bodies can make fat is take insulin and sugar, bring it into the cell, run it through the process, and make fat. That's the only way. We can't make it any other way.
So are there various things that we should then cut out, or because you mentioned fruit too, even being a possible problem?
An apple a day keeps the doctor away, but an apple is actually 2 tablespoons of sugar. And when you look at, so what kind of sugar can my body handle? Truly, if anything more than, I tell my patients and I tell myself and friends that I am a tablespoon of sugar. That's really what I have floating around in me. If you took all my blood out and say, all right, there's no sugar in it, how much sugar do I need to add into me before I, quote unquote, I'm a normal blood sugar? 1 tablespoon.
That's it.
Anything more than that is extra. And so if it's extra sugar, now we're talking diabetes. Extra sugar means insulin, glucose, bring it in and make it into fat.
Now, I've done various weight loss programs, whether it's exercise or diets or whatever, but one thing I've always done whenever I get a craving is drink water. Is that helping or hurting?
That's helping. That's helping mostly because we want to burn fat. As we burn fat, the only way to get rid of those byproducts of that burn is to urinate it out. So staying hydrated is huge. And certainly in surgical weight loss, and some of what I've spent the last 20 years doing, the people that are hydrated lose more weight.
Oh, okay. Well, of course, I would imagine exercise would be a benefit to us.
It's huge. It's huge. And it's more huge to improve our cardiovascular fitness, to hold on to muscle tone. It doesn't actually help us burn fat faster. When we're really exercising, we're actually burning kind of some of the glucose reserves in our body. But exercise is good always, but it doesn't always make us speed up the fat burn. Decreasing the carbohydrate intake is the only way that we can shut off the sugar engine and turn on the fat burning engine, which is ultimately what I think people want. They want to burn fat.
Yeah. So when I'm doing the exercise, do I really need to get into the hardcore, work up a really deep sweat to actually burn that fat?
I tell you what, not really. When you're really hitting the aerobic zone and you're really kind of either sprinting or heavy muscle lifting, then that is burning sugar. So when you're really if you're just moving. What we're doing now, our choice to stand up and do this is probably more important than us sitting down to do this, because we're moving. And those little things are what our bodies, when we've triggered it. But if your body's not in the fat burn mode, then you're not going to burn fat no matter what you do. So it's really restricting how much sugar you eat. And how many times have we heard this? We've heard it, the Atkins diet, the South Beach diet, the paleo diet, the Suzanne Summers. It's the same story, but really it's restricting the amount of carbohydrates that we're eating, because our problem is not that we're gaining weight. The problem is we're making our bodies incapable of burning fat. And I don't want my body ever to be incapable of burning fat.
It seems like sometimes you drink the water, you do the workouts, things like that, and it still doesn't seem to help at times.
Yeah, sometimes, because I've had patients that gave up carbs completely and had surgery and were losing 50 pounds a month and looked at me and said, I'm losing too much weight, I don't feel good. And I said, you're right, we need to stop this. Drink this shot glass on Mondays, Thursdays, and Saturdays, and you'll stop losing weight. And they look at me like, you're crazy. How are you going to shut this off? You've done this operation. 1 shot glass of sweet tea 3 times a week can make it to where you cannot burn fat.
Cannot burn fat.
You heard it.
Wow.
And that's the problem. It's not that we're doing anything other than we're making it to where our bodies can't burn fat. And these little pulses of sugar create this insulin. Insulin comes out, stores fat, but what insulin also does, it shuts off your ability to burn fat. So we really just want to avoid these sugar spikes and these insulin spikes.
You know, I see all the time on TV, there's a pill for this, a pill for that, pill for weight loss. Do we have to be careful with medications and different things that might be out there, whether it's medications or supplements?
Well, we do know certainly when we put them on insulin that we can have problems with weight loss. Some of our diabetics medications actually will lower our ability to metabolize sugar with them. But a lot of these things you're talking about are over the counter, you know, and there's really been no science to tell us this is really the long-term effect of these. And so I would sit down and talk to your doctor about these. We have pharmaceuticals that we know can help lose weight, but also a lot of these over-the-counters, really, if they were truly over-the-counter drugs, they'd have to go through the FDA. And by the mere fact that they're not really drugs. And so I can't even comment on it as a doctor to say, I don't know. They haven't done any studies.
At what point should a person start considering surgery because of their obesity?
Surgery is drastic, but what surgery does is it tricks you into saying, all right, I'll make your stomach smaller. We emphasize protein. You must get 60 grams a day, which is like 3 chicken breasts. But I make it to where you really can't eat more than a 3-bite meal. So 3-bite meal, 3 meals a day, 9 to 12 bites. Can you eat 3 chicken breasts in 12 bites? No. So what you do is you emphasize protein and you stop eating carbohydrates. The reason our bariatric surgeries work is because we force people to get the proteins in and not eat carbohydrates. So a body mass index, which is, you can pull out your smartphone and say body mass index of 40, that's enough to say consider surgery. Body mass index of 35 with diabetes, hypertension, sleep apnea, those are things that right now the National Institutes of Health said consider it. Surgery is not for everybody, but we're only operating out of 100 people that are really grossly overweight. We're only operating on 1 out of 100. So what we're talking to the other 99 to say, hey, what we've done with surgery is tricked you into not eating sugars, but just make that choice.
Yeah. Whether it's surgery or just losing a few pounds, we can all lose a few pounds and get a little more healthier and actually improve our quality of life.
Absolutely, because it all builds up, you know, and even a couple pounds a week is huge. Your body's making a difference. You're making a commitment. You're feeling better, and we're going to be doing this for the rest of our lives. And I think the biggest myth is, I'm on a diet for 2 months. No, this is something we got to do for the rest of our lives, because these are the genes that I was dealt and you were dealt. And so once we commit to it, and how many people do we know that have done South Beach or Atkins and have lost a lot of weight, but now they're gaining it back because they just stopped doing what they were doing. This is not for 2 months. This is the rest of our lives.
Very good. Well, thank you for taking some time
Of
with us
course,
today.
this is my passion.
Now, if you have any questions regarding dieting or weight loss, you should contact your primary care provider or just give us a call here at Aurora at 303-8700. I'm Ted Stefaniak, and we'll see you next time on Focus on Health.
This Focus on Health segment has been brought to you by Aurora Healthcare.